Hi, I'm Dave Barnes.
And I'm John McLaughlin.
And welcome to Dadville.
Dadville is a podcast where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of awesome dadding.
It's funny thoughts and deep talks.
So please, enjoy your time here in Dadville and enjoy this episode with...
David Pollack. You made us wait, which is a power play, and I respect that.
Yeah.
That's called technology. That is not on purpose.
How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Did you do I just imagine, this is what I imagine about DP before he jumps on this morning. Like you got in, you did like one of those freezes. You were in the cryogenic freeze tank for like 45 minutes. You did a cold plunge, then you immediately like ran up a mountain.
You do look like someone who came straight from a cold plunge. I hope you take that as the compliment.
That's a compliment. Yeah.
I had a workout group this morning, and we do this afternoon. We do a lot of extremely challenging things, which I absolutely freaking love. So
you do.
Cold plunge is one. The cryotherapy, we just got one into we started a Thrive.
Yeah.
It's a Thrive business in Athens, and the double black diamond, it gets my eyes were tearing up, and it froze to my face. It was so freaking cold. Like it
How cold is it in there?
It says negative 300, which is stupid, obviously, but you're like in a freezer. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But I think there's just something.
How long are you in there?
That one's 3.5 minutes.
Oh,
it's miserable.
Is it the type of thing where it's like you're standing?
Which is why I do it.
You're standing in one of those things where like it comes up to your neck, kind of thing.
Oh no! This is the real deal. You're in the whole like there's a top to it about 8 feet, and it's like a
sauna but cold.
It's like a freezer. It's literally like standing in a freezing cold freezer, except for the airs. They're pumping out more cold air, and you can wear the beanies and you can wear the big old stuff over them, but that's for
they're like, sure,
people,
put that on. Go ahead.
People that aren't like me. That's not me.
Yeah, come
it's just
on,
like
man.
when you go in the cold tub, by the way, like we have those foot condoms basically where you put like the neoprene sleeves or you put them over your toes. And I coach high school football and I'll be like, hey, y'all can wear them. Y'all absolutely can wear them. That's fine. I'm not going to, just to be clear. Like you can wear it, but your boy is not going to participate in that. And
my wife is like this. I'm so fascinated with people, to your point, David, that are like, what is hard? I move toward that. Like that is, my wife is like that. She was an athlete growing up. I love that about her. I'm made perfectly by the Lord, so I don't need any shame from either one of y'all, but I'm not like that. But I'm always amazed that people are like, oh yeah, no, that sounds miserable. When can I get in?
Yeah. What's the buy-in on that?
All right, Dave, can I ask you this though? I mean, honestly, I think there's a component of life where the older we get, the more we do less hard.
No doubt.
And the less we're able, I think, to like really handle it. So that's my thing is like, I have to push the limits of what I can do, and I have to make sure the dog's still barking because I don't want the dog to stop barking. And so, like, bring on hard. Like, I want hard. We do stuff in the weight room like death by sled, which is absolutely miserable. 2K rows. We just find random days to do just random things that suck. And I got a cold plunge right next to my gym, and so we definitely have some fun, but I do think there's something to that. Like I think there's insane chemical benefits to cryotherapy and cold plunge. Like the release of brown fat when you put your body in extreme cold. Like I get all that, and I think that's great. But I think there's something too. Like, hey, bro, step up in there, and be a freaking man.
Yeah, and so do something hard.
Yes, so I do enjoy that.
Do you feel like you are? Would you say you're addicted to this type of? Sort of adrenaline rush / like exhaustion of your body, like you just have to do it.
I think it's
that face.
I think it's the way I feel like I've accomplished something. When I do something hard. So like we do all these partner workouts. So they're fascinating. They're really fun. But like we stack the team. One side for the other. And I usually have like I have to do more reps and I have to do heavier weight. But I absolutely I just love meeting the challenge. Like, like today on the bench, we did something where we did. You have as many sets as the fastest. You put 135 on the bar, and whoever could get it done the fastest won. And you do as many reps as you can, and every time you stop, you have a 1 minute rest. So you can choose to put as many reps into that body as you want, but you've only got a minute. And once the clock stops, you've got a minute. And then when you go again and you do your next rep, you got a minute. So I think the challenges are so much fun. My buddies always make me go first because if you give me a number, I'll beat it or I'll die trying. So it's definitely like, that's how God's wired me. I'm weird. I'm awkward. Like I'm different, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy those kind of, like I love having a challenge in our workout every day that's really hard. Like something that we have to do that's unique and different.
We I've done the cold plunge a decent amount of times, and I've never been more but it's always with people, right? Because it's like the peer pressure.
Makes it easier.
You need it, right?
Yes.
I was at a buddy of mine's just built a hotel in Atlanta called the Fourth, which is this gorgeous place. But I played a showdown there, and he was like, "Stay at the spot, right?" He's like, "It's got all this stuff. It's great." So they put me up. It's awesome. But they have this gorgeous like workout, all this stuff, and they had a cold plunge, and I was like, "I'm gonna get in the cold plunge," and and it was this tiny room, and it's just the cold plunge, and you shut the door. The girl was like, "Oh yeah, you can get in there," and she closed it behind me, and it was probably the most intense 45 seconds of my life because I was just staring at it like, this is just me. Like there's nobody will know if I did or didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And I started laughing out loud because I was like, you got to do this. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I was like, okay, you can do this. And I was like, isn't it hysterical when you do these things? I was like,
the inner dialogue.
Oh my gosh. But not having people there that were like looking at your boys are like, yeah, and you do it. And you're like, oh, you got done, high five. But sitting in there by myself,
I know. I get mad at like, the idea that it even exists, because I'm like, well, now I have to do it because I can't live with future John who doesn't do it. I have to live future John who didn't do it. That's more uncomfortable than whatever the thing is that I have to do.
I like that.
I know no one cares if I do it. There's no, like, to your point,
well,
David,
the ghost of your granddads, dude, they're definitely judging and watching and thinking about, like, World War II. And thinking, like,
and they're like, really, what's the challenge today? A cold plunge? Okay.
I didn't know that was a thing. I like that, Dave.
Well, it can be. It can, David, if you think about it.
I do think like, it's just like when you're doing competitions of any kind in the weight room and stuff and you're on an honor system. Like, I'm supposed to do this. It's like, well, are you a person that – because, like, if you write it on the board in our gym, it has to go. Like, there's no changing it. Like, I can't stand. My buddies will be like, "Oh, we should just do 2 rounds." We wrote 3.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like,
exactly.
So it's an inner. It's an inner.
David, are you gonna be the guy who changes it? That's the inner dialogue. Is like, are you gonna be the type of guy that goes over to the dry erase board and changes the 3 to a 2? Is that who we
Let's
are?
look for the easy way out. Let's look for the easy way out. That's correct.
Well, you're in double problem. Maybe the guys you work out were ex-athletes too, but like you are in real trouble because that's your pedigree. So they're looking at you like you're the pro, man. You're the pace setter.
Well, the good thing a bunch of my buddies played college ball.
See, there you
go. 3 of my buddies that come almost every week play, and we have like a rotation of 6 to 7 guys that come 4 or 5 days a week. Like we're very consistent at that noon hour, and we're always sending miserable challenges and stuff. And so it's fun, man. It's really cool. I
would just suggest, because I know iron sharpens iron, and you guys are in there, all athletes and making each other better. Just for your self-esteem, just for your confidence, throw a musician in there every now and then.
Yeah, just
so you guys can feel amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
on a day you're really struggling.
Ourselves?
Yeah, just invite me down, and you'll be like, I was having a hard morning, and then I saw Dave cry on the bench, and I just felt better.
He keeps erasing everything and putting a 0.
I thought we were doing 3 sets, not 0. What happened? What happened to that? Why did the rep scheme change?
Yeah, that's what I do. So, Dave, what we like to do is we like to give we call it the brag sheet. And so, everybody, you hear his voice, you know his face. You can imagine how handsome he is and how jacked he is, and both are true. I'm also talking about David and not just John, but John too when I say that. So here's David. So David Pollack is a follower of Christ, a husband, and a dad. David played college football for the University of Georgia, where he was a 3-time All-American and was recognized as the top college defensive player in the nation. He was an NFL first-round draft pick in 2005, selected 17th overall by the Bengals, where he played linebacker before a neck injury ended his career in 2006. In 2009, he joined ESPN, where he excelled for 13 years, contributing his college football knowledge to several of the network's programs, including College Game Day. David's mission extends beyond the football field. He now focuses on parenting and faith, helping parents teach their kids life's most important values through sports. His new children's book, The Won't Quit Kid, is designed to help kids understand the value of perseverance, teamwork, and hard work. And then there's just a million these things you won, man. This is insanity. Florida Georgia Hall of Fame, 36 sacks in college, third most in history. SEC Player of the Year, 2002 and 4. Defensive Player of the Year in 2004. Chuck Bednarik, did I say that right?
Bednarik, close enough.
Yeah, it's somewhere there. Ted Hendricks Award, Lombardi Award, Outback Bowl MVP. I mean, that's you. You've done some things. I can't say any of that. Just to be really clear, I haven't done any of those. I tried in my own way. But so I'm curious. Like, when you think about that, was it something where when you were growing up, were you like, all right, I want to be college football, I want to be pro football, that's what I want to do, or was that like? Yeah, go ahead.
I grew up. I was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and we moved down at 4 to Georgia. And so my daddy was a Giants fan, and so we were big pro football fans.
Okay.
And my brother
was he a big guy, by the way?
No, my daddy's a tiny little man. He's like 5'11", 185. Now, Mama, you don't want that smoke. Mama's about 5'10", 220. So I tell my mama all the time, like, thank you, Jesus. I look like you. I got your legs and booty, and I mean that in the highest compliment possible. So no, he wasn't big, but she was more of an athlete. She swam and was athletic. So we moved to Georgia. My brother at 6 started playing football, and my parents tell me all the time, like, I started playing at 4 on the sidelines because I was 2 years younger, and they said I tackled everything in sight, ran all over the place. Like, it got a little weird when I tackled cheerleaders, and I had to apologize and all that stuff too. But like that's when I knew, and then I couldn't wait till I turned 6 to start football. And my dad started coaching me, and I told everybody from when I was 6 years old going on up, like, I'm gonna play in the NFL. Like, that's my goal. That's my dream. That's what I want to do. It didn't come without like ups and downs and moments where you were weaker and then strong, and moments where you were stronger. But I definitely knew like that was a goal of mine and that was a dream of mine. And so football was a passion.
When you were that young, like when I was that young, I was like, I'm going to play in the NBA. Like, I'm going to be a professional basketball player. Just like all my friends, like we all wanted that. Were all your friends saying the same thing?
Yeah, I think we all said the same thing, and you got plenty of those little like pats on the head. It's like, oh, that's so cute. So does everybody else. And I was like, and the way I'm forged is kind of like, okay, I'll show you, right? Like, forget you. Don't tell me what I can and can't do. And it's interesting because like I was one of those kids that I also was willing to sacrifice a lot. Like I never touched alcohol because it wasn't a part of my dream. Like alcohol didn't help me get to where I wanted to go. I'll never forget. I was in 8th grade. Watching the Women's World Cup, and it was the Brandi Chastain ripoff for sure. That's not why I'm telling you this, but I remember being where I was the day I heard them talk about it in the semifinals. They said the girls stopped drinking carbonation during the World Cup because it hurts their conditioning. I was 14 years old. I haven't touched a carbonated beverage since.
No, you're kidding me.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, so like I knew, but I knew that if you want to be great, like you got to give something up along the way, and God really put that desire in my heart. Now, that doesn't mean I was always the most hardworking kid and always the best kid. I wasn't. Like, as a sophomore, I didn't play varsity. I mean, I didn't really play varsity or JV. So, and then between my sophomore and my junior year, like I grew 6 inches and I gained 60 pounds. And I realized that football was a lot more fun when you're the hammer, not the nail. Like, it's really awesome.
Well, do you remember what your attitude was like your sophomore year when you got the news, like you didn't make varsity, you're on JV? Do you remember how you handled that?
I don't remember how I handled it, but I remember how I handled not playing varsity, and that was I went to my coach and I told him I quit.
Really?
Like, oh my gosh!
Oh yeah, and I remember I've had these dreams and I've had these goals, and but I got caught up in results at that age and what was important to me now, and then I got to quit, and my coach was like, "Hey man, listen, like just." And this is his name's Eddie. This is why in the book Eddie is the one of the main characters. Eddie Shattuck said, "Hey, just come and start working out with me." And I'm like, why am I going to work out with you? Like, he was like, let's just go do curls and get strong for the girls. And I was like, all right, I can get down with that, like deal. And so we started working out, and literally I hit puberty and just started to take off and get bigger and stronger. And the next year as a junior, it was like it made perfect sense to go out. And then I ended up being All-State and started getting recruited by a lot of teams in the country. So I remember those moments. I remember the struggle. I remember the sophomore year. I tell my high school kids, I coach high school football. I'm like, the sophomore year is the hardest. Like, you're stuck between two worlds, and you want to be in that world, but you don't know what you don't know. And I think that's important for all of us in life. Like, we want to get to Y, or we want to get to Z, but we got to go through X, right? We've got to go through the steps before we get to that point. And so I think that it's been something that's held true, just like when I lost football with the NFL and repurposing, reorganizing your thoughts and what you think is next and what you think you can accomplish.
Man, so did you end up not playing your sophomore year?
I didn't play. I played. I was on the team. I played JV a little bit, and I didn't play varsity. So I played. I finished the season, and then after the season, I was like, "This sucks. Like, football's hard enough as it is. I ain't even playing." Like, and then coach obviously worked his magic, and I didn't know he was working his magic, but I was like, "Okay, sure, I'll work out and get pretty for the."
And
girls.
then your body exploded too.
Exactly. That was fun.
That's such an insanely fast timeline. Like, for your junior year is the first time you play varsity. For you to accomplish all that in 2 seasons, next thing you know, like, you're on this meteoric rise to like an insane college career. Even the whole thing, if you take your college career and your junior year of high school, I mean, that's like 5-6 years for a teenager. That's incredible.
Well, and that's where I talk to so many parents now, and I really struggle with a lot of parents, because so many parents are like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to play on this team, you got to go here, you got to go there. And I'm like, no, you don't. Like I said, I'm just telling you, I didn't have a private coach. I didn't have a weightlifting coach. I rode my bike around the neighborhood. Like, and it didn't matter. Like, I had a gift that God gave me, and I got really strong and big, and I worked really, really hard. My mindset was good, but like, God gave me that gift, and you're not going to put it in your kid. I can promise you. And so, I think that's one thing is I see all over the place is you think it has to be a team. You can't miss certain things. You pay all this money for the extra training. And, the biggest crime to me is I see a lot of parents that consistently miss church. And I'm like, that's the most important thing in your life. You tell me that's the most important thing, but you don't show up on Sundays. So you tell your kid that God's important, but you show them that sports is more important.
Right.
Like, and then listen, we would miss church occasionally, but we would also show up most of the time in our uniform. And we'll leave from here and get to football, but we're going to check in with God first. Like, this is our family priority. Like, this is where we're going to go. So I think that it happens fast. And I think, the weight room changes things, puberty changes. And here's the thing. I shared this with Frank Core a couple years ago, and he was blown away. And he was like, God, when you said that, it really resonated with me with my kids. You have no clue what your kids are going to be until puberty. Yeah. You have no clue. Like, you don't know. Because here's the thing. Aggressive kids win when they're little, period. Yes. And then puberty wins in 7th grade, 8th grade, because some people are puberty monsters at that age, and they just start killing everybody because they're like a grown man. And then you start to see genetics really take over, and really genetics wins. But like puberty, you can start to see those genetics come to fruition, and you start to figure out a little more of, what your kid is about. But so in the meantime, make it fun. Like, make sports what it's intended to be. It's fun. It's learning teamwork. It's learning to win. It's learning to lose. It's not cussing at kids. It's not traveling all over the world because you think you have to do that to make them something. Those aren't things that's not going to happen. I would argue you're way more inclined to turn your kid off to sports than you are to turn them on to some superstardom that everybody's chasing for some reason.
Dadville is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Dave, what are some of your relationship green flags?
Ooh.
Like, we often hear about red flags that we should avoid, but what if we focus more on green flags and friends and partners?
That's a great question, John. I think having a positive outlook like that is a great way to approach relationships. And if we're not sure what green flags look like, therapy can help us identify green flags, actively practice them in your relationships, and embody the green flag energy ourselves.
So whether you're dating, married, building a friendship, or just working working on yourself.
Yeah.
It's time to form relationships that love you back.
That's right.
Therapy empowers you to be the best version of yourself.
And, John, it isn't just for those who have experienced trauma. It's for anyone.
That's right. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. Access a diverse network of more than 30,000 credentialed therapists with a wide range of specialties, and easily switch therapists at any time for no extra cost.
Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Dadville today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Dadville.
I forgot how good you are at tickling. My gosh. Strong
I'm
hands.
exhausted. Hey, Dave, where do you think success in selling comes from for a business?
Okay.
You know, is it the flashy ads, the quality of the product, maybe the practicality of what's being sold?
I don't know, John. I mean, there's so many good products out there, so there has to be something else that's setting businesses apart.
Right.
Getting products
Right.
sold with smooth transitions.
That's right, Dave.
Yeah.
It's often the business behind the business, making selling simple, right? And for millions of businesses, that business is Shopify.
That's right. Nobody does selling better than Shopify,
Nobody.
home of the #1 checkout on the planet. So, if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling and strolling. The SNS on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between.
Upgrade your business and get the same checkout as Aviator Nation. That's right, the same one. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Dadville, all lowercase.
Go to shopify.com/Dadville to upgrade your selling today.
Shopify.com/Dadville.
Do you feel like in your, the work that you're doing now with the book and everything else that you do, the coaching and all that kind of stuff, do you feel like you are sort of, if you will, sort of preaching a message and an approach to youth sports that is different than the one that you yourself, like self-imposed upon yourself? Do you know what I mean? Because it sounds like you were pretty intense. You were as a kid. Would you say like you were the kid who was like just out there having fun and keeping it pure, or are you preaching a message that was sort of like the opposite of what the one that was your experience?
Well, my parents kept it pure. That was the biggest part. I think that's why I thrived. I never felt like I was in a grind. I didn't grind. I had fun. I played ball. Like, it was fantastic. My daddy was my coach, Norm, who's in the book, Coach Norm. That's why he's Coach Norm. I didn't get forced things upon me. I'll never forget when I got to Georgia, John, like, I'll never forget people being like, God, I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of that. And I'm like, this is awesome. I get to work out. I get to do this because I had a love for the game. And when you love anything, I think you'll work. But when you're forced to do things ad nauseum and you're beat down and you have to do this and you have to do this, you need to go practice. You need to go do this. You need to go do that. Like, everybody has so much grind in them, and then you're done. And sure, you can still do it, but this ain't in it. And so I think that's where the message with the book, with the Won't Quit Kid, is it's not about results. It's not about like you're being the star. And it's not about when you get in the car with your kid going, hey man, like that was an awesome home run or that was an awesome hit. Because if that's what we say in touchdowns and home runs and 3-pointers, that means that's how they validate success.
Yeah. Right,
I don't want to validate success like that. I want to validate success like, did you try as hard as you can? Like, if you gave it all you could, did you have a good attitude and was a good teammate? Yeah. I love you whether you make 30 shots or you miss 30. Like, I tell that to my kids. I've told that to them from a young age. Like, your performance doesn't dictate my love. Like, I see so much of this. Strike out and write it, Dad. Write it, Dad. Write it, Dad. Right? And like, and listen, to be clear, like, guys, I screwed it up when my kids were younger. Like, I 100% screwed it up. Thank God I learned it kind of when my son was in like 6th grade. It was where I was like, all right, dude, this ain't mine. This is not a reflection of me. He is not a reflection of me. He is him, and this is his journey. And if he's going to do this and he wants to make things happen, it's on him. It's not on me. And so again, it came through screwing it up. It came through realizing that my personality, John, yeah, you're right. I'm this, man. Like I am go, go, go. And even when I talk to my kids, they're like, why are you yelling at me? I'm like, I stay like this. I live in a state of intensity. I don't change. And I never will. Like I've learned now when I sit down with my son, he's 16, and I'm like, I am not upset. I am not mad. Like, I want you to know I understand exactly. We had this conversation the other day. I was like, buddy, I understand exactly what you're going through. Like, I get it. I just want to give you the other side sometimes. Like, and maybe give you some things to think about. And so, I mean, I'm just telling you, like, I'm learning in my journey, and I've screwed it up a million times. And when they were younger, I think I did a poor job. And as they've gotten older, it's been like, it's more of this approach. Like, you want to go shoot. You want to go work out. Like, now listen, we ain't going to be lazy all day. We ain't going to sit on the video game all day. Like, we're going to find things to do, and we'll play board games. I'm fine with that. But like, so it's definitely a trial and error, mess it up, succeed some, and then figure it out.
Well, it's crazy how much, with the athletes we've had on, including me and John, obviously, we talk about this a lot because the youth sports thing is just so out of control. And I think with everybody, our demo is obviously a lot of parents and, those of us who are trying to figure out how to do. And I think what's even hard, one of the things that I've seen that makes it even harder is that gap between rec and, like competitive
travel,
now is just so far. It's like either, you're on the bad news Bears and guys are like picking their boogers and don't even know that the ball's been hit to the outfield. Yeah, and well, of course, that's assumed. And then, or it's like, they're like, hey, you need to sign a contract for your 8-year-old. Like we're flying to Colombia to do some soccer, and then we'll pop over to Brazil for a clinic, and it's $10,000. You got to pay for it, Dad. And you're like,
always.
And so I think that's what's so hard these days. Well, it's it
is about the money. Dave, here's how I addressed it the last several years with my babies. So my daughter's a freshman. We're 23-1 at the high school right now. We're the number 2 or 3 team in the state. We're really, really good. She starts as a freshman, okay? We have not gone to Atlanta and done travel ball circuits and been all over the place and been in all these different things. Here's what we did for our family. Because we're not going to travel and because we're not going to do I'm spread thin this way, this direction, because we want to be in church. Like I coach travel ball, and here's what we did. Last year as a freshman, all of her freshman friends, because we played together, all together, because those are her friends. Her friends want to play. I'm not trying to get on the best team in the country. I don't care. Like, I want it to be an atmosphere where my kids loving it, and it's awesome, and they want to go, and they want to improve and get better. So we play. They're really good. They're a really good group of ballers. So we played rising juniors and rising seniors in high school last year on the circuit local. We got beat up a good bit. We lost some, we won some, but you can play up locally into some of these tournaments if you really want to challenge yourself.
Wow.
Here's the thing. I don't think that's the end all be all with athletes. I don't think you have to do that to be great. I think you can practice in a great environment, in a great atmosphere with a purpose and still grow and get better. And I think you can find those places that are near you. You can find the best options. My daughter this year looked at me for the first time. She said, I don't want, if I want to play elite travel ball. So her season ends March 6th. And I was like, so you're fine not playing with your friends? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, here's the deal. I'm not driving to Atlanta every day for practice. So like if we can find something that maybe you have to go once a week, maybe, but I was like, we're going to have to find something with a friend that we can carpool and we can make this as minimal as possible, because I'm not staying away from Nicholas 4 days a week because you want to play basketball. Like my son needs me too. Yeah. My baby doll needs me. My wife needs me. She's the most important person in my life. So like, I think because we're told we need to do these things, like it makes us reach and it makes us go places where they're talking to the kids where you don't like the way they talk to them, but it's the only team. There's plenty of teams, man. There's plenty of teams. If you curse at my kid, you're crazy. I'm out. Yeah. I'm not playing that, bro. Like that's not how I talk to my kids. That's not how my kids led. Like we're not doing that game. Like, I think you can find things you might have to be creative, But you can definitely find things that your babies love, that they're growing, they're getting better, and they're getting that competitive fix that they want.
Well, it's to me, it's I mean, not to sound like that guy, but it's a theological problem. You know what I mean? Like for if you call yourself a Christian, it's really a theological problem, which for me I have in a million places, which is just provision. I think it's two things. It's, do I trust that God's going to accomplish His will in my life and my family's life, right? So, because if you do believe that, then God's going to figure it out no matter what decision you make. So, not because you missed the team or she's not on the, you go, hey, God, if you want this, I bet you'll make it happen. You know what I mean? So, like, being okay with going, we're going to forego some other things. And the other thing, which John and I have talked about so much on this podcast, but like, my kid can't fix my story, right? So watching my kid have a bad game of basketball and me trying to get mad at them, or they're getting bad refed and I got to get out there and get in somebody's face. It's like, bro, like what's the point of like, what do you think you're accomplishing by doing this? And it's like, my kid needs a shot. And it's like, my man, like, I mean, John and I were talking about this. What'd you say, John? There's 1.6 people that make, division.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to, I was just excited. We always get excited about having professional athletes on. And I'm like, I tried to Google, like, what's the percentage of like the general public that become professional athletes, which I couldn't, I searched for a whole 20 seconds. I couldn't find it. But I found that of NCAA football players, D1 NCAA, 1.6% go on.
It's almost like
pro.
I wish you could put a sign on the front of every gym, like how like people hit the thing when they go out, like that just says 1.6% of children will go on to
the
play
1.6%,
and like every parent has to slap that to show that they acknowledge it.
No,
that
Dave,
is true.
Dave, I got one better for you. I think we should put 3 signs, and I think there should be 3 signs, and every parent has to do this. One says referee, one says coach, and one says parent. Pick a sign, slap it, and stay in your freaking role. Yeah. Like, whatever you want to be, whatever zone you choose, you pick it, bro. You want to be the ref, bro, go be the referee.
Yeah, go be the ref.
Debate balls and strikes. You want to be coach and you want to coach and teach all the details, go be the coach.
Yeah.
If you want to just be a great supporter and a parent, like, great, slap in and sit there and keep your mouth shut. Like,
right.
Yeah.
But we need that. That's what's crazy is we've got to tell our parents that because they're so off their rocker and they're yelling at referees left and right, and we're attacking our kids for not doing a great job. And listen, we're all working on this together. Like, we're working on our humanity and our things that we have. And I would argue that we've got some things we need to work out if that's the case. Like, if you care that much and you want to be that into it, like, I would argue there's probably something that we need to talk about. Like, there's something in there that I don't, again, do you think your kid likes that? Do you think your kid's having fun with that? Like, if your kid's looking at you, by the way, there's nothing worse than having a kid that's a perfectionist. Like, it's always looking to dad. Like, if my kids are always looking for my approval, I'm not doing it right. Like, if they're always looking over my shoulder, like, they should feel the freedom with dad to be like, man, I can do anything with dad. Like, dad loves me.
That's so
dad
good.
supports me. Dad is there to pick me up if I fall, if I fail. Like, dad's got my back. And I think so many of us are so worried and so ingrained in their journey that we're wanting to push and push and push and push. That's their coach's job. And once you get out of wreck, it's beautiful when you're not coaching your kids anymore because you don't have to coach them. Yeah. And you hope they get a great coach that pushes them and they do that stuff. So I can be there to support them. Like, so they know, like, I got your back, dude. Like, I'm here for you. Like, and so, but it's a tough deal. It's not easy, especially for hyper competitive people. But that relationship, like, those cleats are going to get hung up. Those sneakers are going to get hung up. And like John just said, it's going to be a lot sooner than most of y'all think. So what's there to that relationship? Like, they're all going to stand before Jesus. Every single one of them. Like, I need to be really concerned about that more than I care about sports. Like, that's got to be priority number 1, 2, and 3. And then we can work on the other things and those different roles they play in our life.
Well, speaking of, Dave and I were talking about your story. In a nutshell, is you have this meteoric rise. You have this insane collegiate career.
Are you talking to me or David? Sorry.
Yeah, well, this applies to both of you, I guess.
Sorry, I didn't know if you're asking me. I was David. This guy.
And then you make it to the pros. I mean, just like the 1% of the 1% of the one, like you make your goal to the all those kids that you were playing ball with back when you were a kid, who all were destined for the NFL. You're the one who actually makes it to the NFL, first round draft pick, and then you have, much earlier in your career than you would think, you have a career-ending injury. Obviously, it seems ostensibly like you have dealt with that like in a textbook way, because you've gone on to have a very successful post-NFL career and you're doing all these great things. But how do you walk us through how you were able to take the fuel, the intensity that got you to that point, and then all of a sudden you have an injury, it's decided for you, hey, your career's over. This is you're no longer playing professional football in the NFL. What do you do with that intensity? How do you deal with the, injustice of that, the unfairness of that?
Well, I think to handle the unfairness, injustice, thank the good Lord I don't get what I deserve, because I deserve death, and I'm not a good person. I think a lot of things people say all the time, like, why do bad things happen to good people? And none of us are really good. I mean, we're all searching and we're all trying to improve, but like we're all fallible and we all mess up and we all make mistakes. And I'll never forget, my wife said that to me, like, so many people give their careers away and you got it taken away. Like, and I was like, well, here's the thing. I'm going to continue to live my life by this, and there's more adversity that's come, is like, I don't cry because things are over. I smile because they happen. And I'm so thankful I got to make my dream come true in the NFL. And did I want to play longer? Absolutely. Did I expect it to be gone in 2 years? No, I did not. Did I know what I was going to do next? No. Like, school was not a priority for me. I told you, the NFL was the priority. Right. And so I wasn't thinking about plan B or C or D. It was plan A, and that was it. And it was 9,000 miles an hour in that direction. And so, I think it's really cool the way God works. And God gives you what you need, not what you want most of the time. And it was cool because the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. Okay, I can raise my hand right now and I can tell you, I was a believer. I was living my life in a great direction, and I was really growing in my faith, and I was taking steps to be a good dad down the road. But what I learned in that 2-year rehab and recovery of learning to move your arms again, like learning to walk, all the things, and being normal again, like what I learned out of that is stuff right now that made me a better dad. That makes me a better husband on the regular. I needed to go through that trial to become the best version of me. And so God didn't do that to me. God did that for me. Right. Yeah. And so I think there are some things in life God's going to take us, like there are certain potholes we're driving down the road that God's going to take us around and he's going to spare us from. But some things we can only go through to really get better and to grow to get to the other side. And so football was one of those things. How I got into TV is really funny, by the way. I'm in a neck brace, the halo. They drill it in your skull. And I'm literally watching. Yeah, premature laugh there, Dave. Yeah, I got that. You're like, hold on, never mind. That one is funny.
The screws lost me.
I'm in my halo, and I'm watching. And I'm watching Kirk Herbstreit, and I'm watching him talk about why Georgia should not be in the national championship game. And I'm pissed because I'm a Georgia guy. I'm like, what is this humpy talking about? And I'm yelling at the screen. And I'll never forget. I called my agent the next day. I'm like, hey, man, if I can't play football, I think I want to try commentating. And he was like, did you go to school for that? I was like, no. He was like, well, why do you want to do it? I was like, well, I think I check a lot of the boxes. Like, I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, I'm opinionated. Like, I feel like I could really do this. Like, I want to talk sense into people and be a voice of good. And by the way, Kirk, really helped me catapult my career. He was one of the main reasons, to get me where I got. So internally grateful for Kirk, but literally that's kind of how, I saw the next stage and the next phase. And I never thought I'd get to do College Game Day. And I got to travel around the country and I got to see the best schools in the country. And I did that for 15 years. And so, and then again, John, what happens? Ring. Hey, you can't work here no more. You're fired.
Yeah.
By the way, I can't say fired with my mama because my mama gets so pissed. She's like, you got let go. They said you got let go. Like, mama, they told me not to come back. Like, you can spin that however you want to.
Say.
You can't be here, okay? You can go somewhere else, but you can't be here. And so God listen, we got a challenge as a family right now that we're going through, like with health circumstances with my wife. And it sucks. It's terrible. It's not fun. And I don't enjoy it, but I know that I serve a bigger God than just my circumstances. And I know that every single time something tough's happened and something hard's happened, He's always showed me the good things out of it. And so I'm going to continue to serve and put my head down and stay faithful, even when it looks like it's not the most fun situation. But like, God is for us, and He always works for us in every single circumstance.
Yeah,
man, that's beautiful. So I'm curious, with ending that thought, when was it you knew you were like, this is probably done? Like, what was that moment?
Deep down, I knew it right away.
No way.
Because, I mean, I knew it. First of all, they take you underneath the stadium and they MRI you right there. They cut my helmet off, all that good stuff. And then they're like, all right, you have a fractured C6, C7. I'm like, cool. What's that mean? A couple weeks? And they're like, that means you broke your neck. I was like, ooh, we're going to need to stick to that fractured C6, C7 because that sounds a heck of a lot better than a broken neck.
Yeah.
But I had two big goals in life. I told you about the one was to play in the NFL. The next one is I really, really wanted to be a dad. Like that was something that excited me. Like I always look forward to it. I love kids. Like, and I just said from the beginning, I'm like, listen, if I'm more at risk than anyone else, like a normal person to play football and for something like this to happen again, I was like, I'm out. Like I'm out. Like people have come back from my injury and played. Like they, you can do that. You can come back and I have plates and screws and stuff in my neck, and you can go back out there and do that, and that is fine for like if you want to do that, so be it. But I wasn't willing to take that chance because I had my baby doll, and we were married in 2005, right before I got my neck injury, and it was just I knew what was next for there. I didn't know what was next for my career. Like I had no clue what. I mean, it would have been an easier decision if you're like, you're going to be on College Game Day in a couple of years. Sure, sign me up. But like, I did that not really knowing what was next, but I knew that God's plan was bigger than mine, and I knew His plans were for me to prosper and to be successful, not to go backwards. And so I said, I remember saying, I was like, babe, if God's already given us all this, like this is awesome. I can't imagine what's next. Like, I don't know what it is, but I can promise it's going to be outstanding. And God hasn't disappointed.
Man, I didn't realize that was such a, I mean, I know this sounds weird to say, but that was such a clear choice for you. You know what I mean? That you were able to say, yeah, let's do the next thing. You know, what that gives that so much more power. You know what I mean? Where you're going, all right, let's do this now. As opposed to sort of like, well, woe is me. This is sort of where I am. I can't. You know,
I've never seen woe is me be very beneficial to anybody. I haven't seen that really work out successfully for anybody. I'm still looking. I'll get back to you guys. I'm not old enough yet, I guess, to have walked the earth the whole time. But I mean, just the attitude and the mindset, man. And again, if we can always keep in mind, like God is for me, and He wants good things for me. Like I'm going to go walk in that. I'm going to go find the good things. If we sit here and we go, hey, man, like this sucks and this is bull crap, this shouldn't have happened. Listen, if you want to walk in the negative, you absolutely can. Yeah. And you'll find plenty of people along the way to join your path. Like, there are plenty of people that are negative. But like, I would encourage all of you, like I've learned the older I've gotten, and so I'm sure y'all have too, like the power of being around people that are positive, the power of being around people that want great things for you. If you hang out with another married couple, by the way, and they don't care about their marriage, they don't give a dang about yours. So I'm just telling you, if they don't care about theirs, they don't care about you. And so like you've just learned, I've started to learn too, as I've gotten older, man, just the power of being around great people. And me and my wife talk about it all the time. Like, how do we stay out of trouble? How do we stay clear? And me and my wife had goals. Like we wanted to be, virgins till we were married. We didn't drink alcohol. Like those aren't things that we wanted to do. And like, how do we accomplish those things? We hung around other believers and people that wanted us to succeed and that was cheering for us, that were doing great things. And it's amazing. We didn't have a lot of the other temptation and other things that could have come in because we hung out, because those were priorities in our lives.
That's a great word. So speaking of this attitude, what was the impetus? Like, what was the reason to write The Won't Quit Kid? What was like the fire there?
I think it was what we talked about in the beginning, the frustration with youth league sports and watching parents like kind of not know what to say to them and watching, kids aren't as resilient as they used to be. And there's a lot of lawnmower, like, let's take everything out of the way, snow plow. And I think just understanding that life is going to be hard and teaching kids like the mindset of not quitting and, starting something, you need to finish it. And a quick funny story, by the way, side note, you'll just like the story. So I went out for wrestling as a sophomore and they needed a fat kid. And
this is before the growth.
Nobody wrestled 275. So like, I literally wasn't even close to that weight class, but I went out there and wrestled 275. And I was like, Mom, this sucks. Like, I hate wrestling. Like, this is awful. After a week, she goes, once you start something, you got to finish. And I was like, God, what a loser. Like, I can't believe she's going to make me finish this crap. Like, long meets, I got to wear these leotard tights. Like, they're awful. I got to wrestle with another dude. So after the state championship
match. It makes me think you didn't know what you were getting into as you described.
I had no clue. My coach just kept coming to me like, hey, we need a heavyweight. And I was like, fine, I'll give it a try. But I didn't know that that meant I was going to sign a contract and give away my firstborn. But like, so the day after the state championship match, literally, I threw my bag in the front seat and I said, Mom, Dad, next time I wrestle half naked on a mat, it won't be with a boy. I'm like, out. But my parents taught me my parents taught me a great lesson, man. When you start something, finish it. And finishing in adversity is something that we're seeing less. Like, kids are quitting at a higher rate. I think it's like 60% now of 13-year-old kids are quitting. Like, by the time they're 13 in sports, and just like to shift the mindset a little bit. And it's funny, man. It was awesome. I have a coach here, Coach Powers. Actually, his son was working out with him, and like he's 9 years old. Like, he was talking about he wants to work out and do push-ups and all these things. And the son actually came up to his dad because he's like, yeah, I don't want to really do it. I don't really want to do push-ups. I've been doing push-ups. I don't really want to do them. And then he said he looked on the counter right over there and he said he saw the book. And he goes, and the kid looks at him and goes, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to quit. And I was like, wow. If one kid learned that at 9 years old, 10 years old, whatever it is, but that's the thing, man. Like, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on your hopes because it gets hard. Like, find ways to go, just like the kid in the book. Find ways to be like Nick and say, hey, this is hard, but I'm going to try to get a little better today. And what that looks like for me ain't for everybody. Ain't everybody in the same box? Like, what does your world look like where I can get better today and I can grow in these little areas? And I think it's for adults too. Like, what are those areas I need to grow in? And how do I intentionally put focus and shine a spotlight on it so I can continue to grow and get better?
Oh, you're beat. Okay. Hey, it's me, and I'm here. Oh,
Sorry, I was done.
Okay. First of all, I respect you for being outside right now with your shirt off, but it is freezing.
I know. It's freezing.
I don't know how you do it. I mean, it makes me never want to leave the house, this unbelievable cold. I want to go for a run, but then I think about how cold it'll be, and I don't know, John. And I just don't know.
Can I tell you what the secret is? If you promise not to tell anyone.
Yeah, nobody will do this.
Okay, the secret is AG1.
Oh.
Yeah, it's my AG1 habit. Okay. That's what helps me stay in my routine and get outside to run or ride my bike.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen you do both those at the same time.
At the same time.
Amazing.
Just one scoop a day, and you'll be running while riding your bike in cold weather.
Yeah.
Just put it in cold water. Okay?
Cold water. That's two of your secrets.
That's right. You'll experience increased energy, digestive regularity, immune support, and even healthier moods.
John.
Yep.
I know that'll get me going. AG1 puts me in that healthy mindset. Each time I drink it, it reminds me I'm doing something to support my mind and body.
That's right. AG1's ingredients are heavily researched for efficacy and quality, and they work great. Just plain and simple.
I know.
Taking care of your health, it shouldn't be complicated, and AG1 simplifies this by covering our nutritional bases and setting ourselves up for success in just 60 seconds.
Gracious, that's fast. It's never too late to create a new healthy habit for 2025. So try AG1 for yourself. It's something we actually have been able to stay consistent with, and that's why we've been partnering with it for so long.
And AG1 is offering new subscribers a free $76. That's almost $77. $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3K2, and 5 free travel packs. Oh, the places you'll go in your first box. So make sure you check out drinkag1/Dadville to get this offer.
That's drinkag1/Dadville to start your new year on a healthier note. This note.
Wow, this house is cute. But can I really get in the game in this economy? I do have savings, and I am responsible-ish. I should bury it. I'm being wild. But what if I'm not being wild, though? Could I actually score a...
Kick off your home buying journey with Zillow's new BuyAbility tool. It makes it easy to find out what you can afford, so you can get off the bench and onto the playing field with confidence. Check your BuyAbility, only on Zillow.
So we talked earlier, about the sort of the culture of youth sports, which is sort of the reason why maybe there's such a high, dropout rate from youth sports and burnout rate, I should say. What do you think is the reason why sports, the culture of youth sports, has gotten so off the charts intense? What's the, I think because there were always parents yelling at refs back in the day. I mean that hasn't changed. Like what do you think is the reason for it just kind of going off the rails?
I think that more people have seen the Tiger Woods of the world, and they've seen just like I think parents, as you get older, you realize like how much hard work matters, like in teaching them, getting them with the right people, and now it's like, okay, well, I can get them to train my kid. I think kids move less than they used to. They used to go outside and play all the time. And I think parents are like, okay, I need to get him in stuff. I need to get him in X. I need to get him. They need private lessons on Monday, Tuesday. I think parents are trying to keep their kids busier than ever because they don't do as much as they used to do. And then they'll sit at home and they'll play on an iPad. And I'm like, that's your job. Your job is to be a parent and get them to go move and to choose different hobbies. I'll never forget when my kids were 6 and 4. And I looked at Nicholas and Lee and I'm like, hey, y'all can't be in the house. And they're like, what? Like, what do you want me to do? I was like, I don't care. It's just going to be outside.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know what that means. I don't have anything to do. I said, I don't care what y'all get into. And next thing you know, you look up, man, they got bottles and they're filling the, cherry seeds in them and they're running around. And like, I just don't think we do that enough, man. I don't think we force our kids to go play. And because of that, now we need, and then you see somebody else have success on a team and it's got to be that team. And then, they did this, so I have to travel all over the place. And I think we're looking around instead of just looking at our own people. What do they need? Where do they need me? How can I help them be the best version of them? And so I think it's all out of whack, and the tournaments are loving it because they're making money hand over fist. And that's why they exist. They do not exist to help your kid. They exist to get a paycheck at the end of the tournament. And they'll continue to have multiple divisions. And if there's enough kids, we'll go gold, silver, bronze. We'll go whatever. I don't even know what the next one is, but I'm sure there's another one next, like to where we can put your kid. And it's just, it's going to continue. There's no doubt.
Yeah. I listened to a really great podcast. It was Christianity Today or somebody did it, but it was basically on youth sports. And she broke down the money that it makes every year, and it has doubled twice in the last 4 years. Doubled, so it was this took 10 years to get to this, and then 5 years, and then it was in the last 5 years it's doubled already.
And you weren't surprised, were you?
Well, that's the thing. Is you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's hard to not go, this isn't about how good my kid is at something. It's about there's a ton of money to be made in this thing.
Yep, no doubt.
And a bunch of sucker parents like me sometimes. All right, David. So I know that you just want to keep talking, but we're going to cut you off. We've come to the end, which we call the speed round. And so you need to buckle up because these are hard-hitting questions. You're buckled in. That's it. By the way, I've never felt. I love you. So for those who can't watch, he did the buckle. My kid and I were playing. I've never felt more like an out-of-tune dad. I'm playing basketball, my son. Shoot, he grabs the ball from me, something, and I was like, oh, it's like a sword. And he's like, no, Dad, it's buckle. And I was like, what's buckle? He's like, it's like I got you buckled up. I was like, God, I'm so sorry. And he was just
God, you're so old.
He was so disappointed. He's like, let's just sail you off now. Okay, so I'm going to ask the first question, couple questions. Buckle up. Here we go. Most nervous you've ever been for a game?
I guess probably my freshman year of college, maybe. Never. I'm not a nervous guy. That's not really one of the emotions that I feel a lot. But I would think like excited, nervous, probably when I walked out of the tunnel at Georgia for the first time, and you're
first
like,
time.
Holy cow!
Playing in front of like how many people are there? Like 90,000.
At that time, there was 92,000, and you're like, wow, okay, this is pretty cool.
Can I ask you a nerd question real quick? How once the game starts in that moment, 92,000 people, you come out. Do you have a lot of? Do you ever have another moment where you're like, dang, like a couple seconds before there's a little break, you're like, God, that's a lot of people, or you just kind of like head down and then you sort of look up at the end of the game like, oh, there's people again.
I think you lock in. I think you lock in more than you realize like what's going on. But I remember Coach Rick did a video, and he challenged us when we do our dog walk because we walk through the crowd to get into the stadium, and he's like, I want you to look at the fans and their passion and how much they love seeing you. And I'll never forget walking through, and I was like, man, like these people really care. Like they're intense. They're fired up. They're jacked up for this. And I was like, golly, that better be important to me. Like I better not take that for granted. So,
that's great.
Yeah, I don't think you really – now you love getting them hype, and you love when it gets loud, and those atmospheres, man, there's nothing like it.
Yeah. That's incredible.
All right. So earlier when we were prepping for this, I was reminded of – do you remember, I think it was 2015, 2016, Indianapolis Colts. They were playing New England Patriots. I'm from Indiana. I'm a Colts fan. They had what has to still be like ESPN's number one most disastrous play. Do you remember this play? Where like they line up on the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden like the entire team runs to the like almost to the sidelines and lines up.
And then they screw it up, and to screw it up, yes.
They screw it up, and they get tackled immediately. I think ESPN has said year after year after year, this is still like the most disastrous play we've ever seen. For anyone who hasn't seen it, like Google it right now. It's awesome. So did you have any of those in your career? Most disastrous play that you can remember?
Oh, I got a great one for you. So I'm a freshman. Nobody knows who I am. I was not a highly recruited kid. I get texts from my buddies back home. And we're like, dude, we saw you on camera. Like, we saw you play. I was a true freshman, and we were playing against Kentucky. And the quarterback was Jared Lorenzen, the Pillsbury throw boy. Big, huge guy. So good, like magician. And the play was called Pop Taco. So it was a blitz for us. Yeah, lovely.
That's amazing.
So I literally come flying in, and Lorenzen pump fakes to the flats. And as soon as he pump fakes, me, Mr. High Energy, High Speed, play hard, turn and sprint. And I sprint to the flats. I don't look for the ball. John, I'm hauling anus. Like I am going as fast as I possibly can. I turn around about 7 to 10 yards later, and he still has the ball in the pocket. And they telestrated and circled me and was like, look at the fake and look at this humpy right here. Watch him run himself right out of the play. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Well, that was that was like before I ever like became an All-American or had success. It was that. My buddies back home were texting me. That was a great play.
Blowing you up.
It was really good. Yeah, really awesome.
One of my takeaways from this episode, which has been a few, is the word humpy. I want to get that into my
Isn't it a great word?
We're not.
It's an amazing word. Yeah. I've never heard it before today.
You're welcome.
Humpy. I just love that. It sounds like an R&B name. Or my rap name, DJ Humpy. Okay, so if you could go back and play one more game, college or pro, buckle up. What team would you be on, and what team would you play?
Oh, wow.
Oof.
I mean, I desperately wish I would have given the Bengals a return on investment. Like, I just wish that I could have been successful for them. I hate that I didn't produce, that I didn't. So definitely be for the Bengals. I mean, I just think because of what they did for me. Maybe I'd go back to like the drive when Elway put that drive together to beat the Bengals and maybe get like a sack and stop it from happening because we haven't had the greatest of luck. So I mean that's all I can really think of.
Yeah,
but there's
good. That's good.
That's all I got for you. But it'd have to be with the Bengals just because they took a chance on me in the first round and didn't get much for it.
All right, last
No
question.
fault of
If
your
you wrote a book on being a dad, what would the title be?
So I'm writing a book now, my next book, and it's called Everyday Counts.
Oh wow!
And I would stick with that. Like, just
I love that.
Like, how do you make every day count? Like, every day we have an opportunity. Every day we wake up, like, we get to choose. And I really think that, like, it's really important that we learn, like, we've got to be very selfish in the morning so we can be selfless the rest of the day. And that means like get your hard stuff done early. Like, don't be afraid to chase your dreams. Like, let's get alignment directly affects assignment, and let's make sure that we're aligned in the right direction. And for me, that looks like I got to get with God in the morning. I got to get in His Word so I can get His Word here, so it comes out of here, and so it, more importantly, so I live it throughout the day. And so I think that's kind of, and there'll be a bunch of stories, and there'll be a bunch of life lessons and a bunch of sayings that I use, but I think it would be just, how do you make every day count, man? Every day is an opportunity. Every day is a blessing. You don't deserve it. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. So how do you really make every day count?
Yeah, that's good.
That's great.
That's really good. Well, thank you so much for your time, Dave.
This has
so
been
good
great
to hang with you.
Oh, you dudes are awesome. I appreciate it, man. You guys are
We know
easy
that
to
you
talk
carved
to.
some time out of your cryogenic chamber to get with us.
I can't stop thinking about the negative 300 degrees. I mean,
Hey, dude, I'm just telling, my face was like frozen, and so I always get in, and I get, just like with the cold plunge, I get still and I start to pray, because you just want it to get over as soon as possible. And I'm just sitting there praying, and that's what I usually do with the cold tub. And after like a little bit, it goes away. That didn't go away. Like it was 2 minutes in.
I think you could be the most atheist in the world. You get a negative 300 degrees, your body just starts praying.
Your hands just go up, hallelujah. Yeah, I mean, I was that light at the bottom slowly ticks up, and then when it gets to the top, it's full.
Oh, that's how you know.
Oh yeah, so I'm just sitting there like this, and then literally I'm like,
oh yeah,
crack one eye open, look at it real quick. I'm like, dad gum. All right. I'm thankful for this, thankful for this. Lord have mercy. Can I get warm, please? I'll be thankful when I'm warm.
Oh gosh. Well, thank you again for your time, David. Good
Thanks
to see
so much.
you, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.